Hey everybody, Tony here with the Bike Lab in Oklahoma City. Welcome to episode 2 of our Bike Lab custom project, building out a Specialized Chisel Evo. Last video we talked about how the Chisel is a premium aluminum cross-country frame. And again, around value is around $1,000, and it's the heart of what we're building this whole custom bike project around. In our opinion, the second most important thing when it comes to how your mountain bike rides, it's going to be suspension. And we really looked at a lot of different options when it comes to this bike, across the range of options that we have, and from our own personal riding experiences, riding the trails that we have here in Oklahoma. And we have settled on the factory Fox Float 34 with the Fit4 dampener. And we're going to get into all that language and technology and what that means, but I have it right here. We even changed out stickers on it so it's going to match the bike a little better because it came with orange stickers, because that's what you get when you get a factory Fox suspension. This fork is one of the nicest forks that Fox makes, so it retails for around $900 to $1,000, and it may seem kind of crazy to have the suspension of the bike be almost as much as the frame of the bike, but for us, when it comes to building and speccing out bikes, yes, the frame is important, but there's so many other parts of the bike that help you to keep control and shred through a corner with balance and grip, and suspension is paramount in that feel when it comes to riding on a mountain bike trail. So we really felt like we're going to build this bike out right. We wanted to make sure the suspension was super dialed. This is a 120 millimeter fork. Typically the kind of fork you'd have on a Chisel would be more of a cross-country spec, right around 100 millimeters, a little shorter travel, so it's a little lighter. This one here is 120. It gives us a little extra grace for the rock gardens we're going to find in Turkey Mountain, riding St. Crispin's or even Tom Steed, but still get that responsiveness out of the frame. So we're going to go ahead and open it up here. I'm going to pull this baby out, and we're going to start checking out this new fork. This is also that comes with it. There's a bunch of extra stuff you can do for adjustments as we get it installed. But here we have the suspension we will be installing, and we'll have an install video, like a time-lapse install video we do as well, just so you can see how that goes on to the bike. So yeah, this is a really nice suspension. We're going to start geeking out on some of the features around this fork, just so you know why we picked it. One of the things you'll notice visually when you see a factory fork from Fox is their Kashima coat. It's this gold color. A lot of the stanchion tube colors you're going to see is just a basic performance black. The reason they do the difference with this coating is once you get your suspension dialed, over time the seals start to wear and break down. You need to have what's called a suspension or seal service. It's usually between 50 and 100 hours. When you have this bike suspension set up right, the Kashima and the regular coating ride the same. There may be a marginal difference, but they ride pretty much the same. Kashima coating is really nice because the ride quality you have, it lasts a significantly longer time. This creates a lot less wear and tear on the seals inside the shock, so you don't have to do your suspension surface as quickly. So again, because this bike's going to be built to shred, we really like the fact that that coating is on the stanchion tube there to reduce the wear and tear on the seals inside the suspension. They have two different dampeners that they do with their factory suspension, with the Float 34. One is the Grip 2, one is the Fit4. The Grip 2 has a lot of adjustment, and as we looked at this bike for someone who wants to ride and have the ability to shift around the different trails we have in Oklahoma, the Fit4 makes those switches a little easier. The Grip 2 allows you to be really specific. It has isolated rebound control, low compression controls. It has a lot of very specific things. But to make that real simple, the Fit4 has 10 notches of rebound adjustment here on the bottom of the fork, and you can kind of see that here. These are just turns here that impact how quickly the suspension opens back up once it's been compressed. On the top here on the Fit4, when you're in the open position, so when you have it all the way pushed open, you still have 22 levels of adjustment on how that compression engages. So you can, and that's more of a set forget. You're not going to be changing that all the time, and to be honest, the way it's set up out of the box for a lot of people is going to be good to go. But if you want to get more specific, you still do have adjustments you can make in the open position. And then you have what you see in a lot of suspension that makes it really, really user-friendly. You have open, you have firm, and you have closed. And there are trails in Oklahoma, Draper being one of them that's really popular here around Oklahoma City, even Thunderbird, where it's nice to be able to go from being completely open to firm, especially a cross-country bike with a 120 fork. If you get into a trail that's not as technical and you want a little more response, having that quick switch makes it nice. And if you're at the start of a race, you can even flip it to close, or a technical climb where you need to kind of push the front wheel up and over some things. You can make those adjustments a little quicker. The Grip 2 on the top here is a knob that has 22 different notches. You can turn it to 22 different times. We just didn't think that that'd be easy to change on the fly. So the Grip 2 allows you to get one setup really, really dialed. And it's the guys that are really into suspension and want to get one setup, or have trails that ride the same all the time or really similar, they can get that really dialed in and it's just ready to go. The diversity of trails that we have here in Oklahoma, we know that we have ourselves switched between open, firm, and then even closed in certain situations, and that ready to go on the fly while you're riding adjustment, we really felt like that had a lot of value. It's a little simpler to use and get set up. So that's again why we picked the Fit4 versus the Grip 2, just for usability and ability to adapt to the trail that you're at. Some other things with the factory fork, they have their Evol air spring setup. Basically means they have a lot more volume for the negative air inside of here. The larger amount of air in the fork. So this is air spring fork. You dial this off here and do your regular kind of pressure adjustment based on your weight and your riding style. But with it being larger volume here, it allows for a much smoother modulation. And when I've ridden this fork, I rode it on a Cannondale Scalpel SE, so a trailed out cross-country full suspension. I was significantly impressed with two things. The responsiveness of it. It didn't feel squishy all the time. But that float feel, that small bump modulation, compression, traction as you're going up and over things and through a corner, I was really, really impressed with. A lot of forks can kind of feel on or off. And as you're going through it, you feel those hard hits kind of engaging, but it's hard to get that small bump feel to feel right without the fork feeling squishy. With Fox and their factory forks, they do that Evol air spring, which is that larger volume setup. And that larger volume of air allows the suspension to be properly set up and responsive and for your riding style and your weight, but to have that float feel, that small bump feel really get dialed in. So those are the key features of the suspension that we chose. It's one of the best riding forks we've ever ridden. We really like it enough that we really feel like it's going to dial in this ride really well. And again, in the 120 setup with the Float 34, we think it's ideal for the riding areas we have here in Oklahoma. Again, based upon where you're at, there's a lot of geological change from the east side to the west side. Having those extra 2 centimeters of travel will help a lot. Having the ability to adjust from open to firm to closed, having all the level of rebound adjustment, and having that larger air volume in the air spring setup, we think creates a really dialed ride. So that is going to be the fork going on this frame. Now, what's cool is you have a chance to win this bike. It costs $1, and we're going to have like the dollar thing again, right, Ryan? Yeah, the dollar thing. $1 per video. So at the end of all the videos, you might spend 10 or 12 bucks, which gives you 10 or 12 entries if you sign up at Patreon. So the website for that is patreon.com/BikeLabCustom. Every video release costs you $1, but that's an entry to win this medium-sized Chisel Evo that we're building out. That's exciting, and we're really pumped. The idea with the money that we're getting is to pay for the next bike we're going to do. So we want to kind of see this community involved. We know there's a bunch of you out there that like to customize your bikes, that like to get frames or get stock bikes and build them out specifically to what you want when it comes to the wheels and the group sets and the drivetrains and the frames, and that's exactly what this video series is for. So again, sign up if you haven't already, patreon.com/BikeLabCustom. We're thrilled to be able to get a chance to get you guys to dive into this. We're researching right now. We know the wheels we want. We'll release that soon. We have an idea of the tire combo we want, handlebar, stem, dropper post, seat. And because of 2020, we're doing some real hard work right now to get just the right group set for this bike. All of those will be videos that we come out with here soon. So again, I'm Tony with the Bike Lab here in Oklahoma City. We would love to serve you in all your bike needs, and we're super pumped you're connecting with us here with Bike Lab Custom.